Hello out there, my friends. I hope you're having the best week possible. As we move through the month of March, I want to remind you that our permaculture theme or our theme for the month is this principle design from patterns to details. And I want to remind you that that is really the nature of the universe that Plato talked about the world of ideal forms. Ernest Holmes talks about the realm of thought, that all things manifest from these divine patterns, if you will, that exist in our thinking in the universe. Even think about the fact that your genes are the patterns in your DNA that manifest as the details of your individual self. And the invitation I want to put out this week is to really just take the time and pay attention to the patterns of your day, of your week, the rhythms and flows that you move through. Think about the fact that for example, whether you are a someone who's a vegetarian or a vegan, right? That's a pattern around your diet, and then the details that get worked out are all the meals and the things that you purchase at the grocery store, right? So you have a pattern, and then the details filter down. And take the time this week and just observe yourself. There are patterns that move through your day, that the rise and the fall of the sun, of day and night. That's a great pattern that surrounds you, that affects then how you interact within it. The way that you design your home, or the way that you your work schedule. All of these things are patterns that you're moving through on a regular basis. What would it look like to do some observing and interacting this week and just look at those patterns? And then notice the way that the details show up, right? Say spiritual practice, for example. Say you've been saying, you know what, I really want to start meditating, but I just don't know that I have the time. And so you go about your life, you do all the busyness, you're doing all the things that you need to do. And at the end of the day, you think to yourself, oh man, I didn't have time to meditate because I was so busy in all the little details of my day. Well, what if you decided you wanted to create a new pattern, for example, and say that I'm going to start my day with meditation? Well, if you start your day with meditation, that takes a little bit of a discipline, a little bit of a practice of saying, okay, I'm going to create a new rhythm, a new pattern. But if I do this, perhaps the way that I address all the details and the interactions that come after that might be affected, might happen a little bit differently. So whatever it is for you, just do some observation. Notice the patterns and the rhythms of your day, of your week, of your month even. Notice that your body has rhythms and patterns of when you feel energetic and when you feel tired. If we honor and recognize those patterns, it can make it a lot easier for us to navigate and create a life that works for ourselves and in interaction with others that works, when we're aware of how our patterns and our energy moves through us. And know that each one of us is working on designing and creating a life that works better and better and better as part of this vision of a world that works for all. That's our divine pattern. That's the vision that we are constantly looking towards, right? We say here at CSL Santa Cruz, our vision is a world that works for everyone. That's a great big pattern that we are seeking to call in. And we're going to do that by each one of us designing patterns and details of our own lives that work and thrive, of doing that as a community, working with our land, working within the greater community of Santa Cruz, that if we individually build small patterns that dictate our own lives and make the details a lot more manageable and healthy and inspiring, then we can expand those patterns into larger and larger arenas of life to build something greater for ourselves and for each other. So the invitation this week, do a little observation and a little interaction. That was our first permaculture principle, looking at the patterns of your life, the thoughts even, the thought patterns that you return to regularly. When you look at your own perception, is there a pattern of, say, negativity or pessimism when you look at the world, or is there a pattern of positivity and optimism? right? Those patterns of thought are going to affect how you look at the details of all the things that are coming at you. So that's the plan. That's the invitation this week. Just observe some patterns and then notice how those patterns affect the details and vice versa. So a little bit, think about it, work on it. I love you. See you this Sunday.